Did you guys know that apparently there's no such thing as sexual assault, specifically on women in the military? Yeah. All those women claiming that they were raped, well, they're just fucking loony. See, that's at least what the military is trying to get people to realize or think. Basically, what they're doing is they're giving women in the military psychiatric evaluations to, I guess, see if there's anything wrong with them, and then the women are going away with quote-unquote personality disorders. The funny thing about it is apparently a lot of the women they've tested and diagnosed have not had any sort of prior history of relational issues or erratic employment. Nothing. It would basically indicate any sort of a prior history of mental disorder. Of course, you gotta leave it to, these obvious, people with daddy issues, and their hard-ons with, authority to try to undermine trauma that's been inflicted upon women in their particular services. And, of course, it's the only thing I can think of as to why they would need to do this, because I can't for my life figure out why they would have to undermine trauma to a woman. You could argue the fact that they are possibly, some of them might be lying about it, but, for what about the ones that aren't lying about it? And you can't say the majority of them have psychiatric disorders. That's completely illogical and stupid. But yeah, it's just the only thing I can think of as to why they would have some sort of a necessity to undermine, psychological, sexual, and physical trauma to a person, especially, given the fact that these are women, not just women serving in the field of service. These aren't, this is, you talk about patriotism and, yellow ribbon uber alles and all that stuff, and I'm as much of a supporter as the troops as anybody is, but at the same time though, for what it's worth, these women getting repeatedly assaulted or getting assaulted in general and then just sweeping it under the rug like it doesn't happen, you're kind of undermine the trauma that's being inflicted upon the psyche of a, not only a woman, but a woman who's in the active services, who's supposed to be out there, defending your country and shit. And it's baffling for me to, figure out why the fuck anybody would even consider, sweeping that under the rug. The only thing I can really think of is a quote from George Carlin in reference to war, in which he said, war is just a lot of prick waving, and there's a lot of issues with these people who get into these positions. Not all of them. Not saying everybody who does this. There's some people who legitimately have a love for God and country. They want to defend themselves and everything. But there is a lot of people who get into these authority positions, and that includes anything from, being a cop to being a teacher, to being a fucking, being in the military. And they get in these positions for one main reason, and it's a reassurance of their manhood. If you want me to be a little bit more specific, like I said, with George Carlin, it's, fucking prick waving. And I think a lot of these guys, and not all of them, but I think a lot of these guys have this issue where they, I think they kind of don't want to, I guess, feel that maybe there's possibly a woman who might just so happen to have a bigger dick than they do. You know what I mean? And so they kind of have a tendency to undermine certain things, certain qualifications. With that in mind too, there's also been reports of men who've been sexually assaulted in much in the same manner. Those have been going largely unnoticed as well. In general, I think, though, it's probably more... I'm thinking it's probably more women than men, generally speaking, with rape. That kind of has... that's the statistics kind of show that as being as such. But, I mean, nonetheless, though, it's... I don't know, I guess the best thing you could really do is, I mean, stuff like this needs to be, like, put out in the forefront. There's no reason that they need to, fucking, do this shit to people. No matter what you feel about the troops, whatever you feel about the military, whether you're a hardcore, ardent supporter of, war effort and will agree with any sort of military action, no matter what the justification is, or if you're one of those like liberal hippie douchebags who spit in the face of troops and act like a complete fucking stupid, inconsiderate asshole because you have to because apparently all of the granola you've eaten is went up into your fucking brain. I mean, or if you're somebody like me or a lot of people that I know who, doesn't just roll over whenever the fucking government tells me to and agrees with Yellow Ribbon Uberalis, but fucking, nonetheless, though, recognizes, what is being done and, the fact that these troops are out there, risking their lives for, well, risking their lives under the pretenses of a bunch of politicians who sit around in air-conditioned rooms conjuring up wars for their own personal monetary gain. Irregardless of whether you believe in that, whatever side you're on, there's no reason. I mean, anybody can agree. There's no reason why this shit should be swept under the rug. Just the same as the Catholic Church shouldn't be relocating their fucking priest around in order to avoid child molestation charges. And so, I mean, if you want to... there's no reason for that. I guess another thing, too, I was going to mention, too, that I thought was kind of stupid was... oh, by the way, you have to excuse me. I'm not exactly the most fluent with the camera techniques. Perhaps maybe if I use this thing a wee bit more, I might be able to, get a little bit better at this. Plus, I think my Tourette's syndrome kind of has a little bit of effect on my my camera technique. But no, I had another thing too I was going to mention. I noticed that there was another thing that made me kind of wonder what sort of drug somebody has been smoking. I think it's in Arizona. Everybody heard about this? Trying to pass a law where they say that conception occurs 2 weeks prior. No, I'm sorry. Life begins 2 weeks prior to conception. So let's try to figure that one out. So we are implying that I existed before I existed. And I'm not saying existed as an existed. I'm not even saying a zygote. I'm not even saying a one-cell molecular structure. I'm implying that I existed as I existed as two separate entities. I was inside my dad's balls and my mom's vagina separately. And apparently this somehow is supposed to imply that I was a whole person at that point. Yes, this is apparently the sort of black magic hoodoo voodoo bullshit that you get from these religious people who think that everything is predestined and predetermined, and, you are who you're supposed to be before life even begins. Of course, anybody who has had any minor bit of biology knows that that's completely fucking retarded, and that there's no common sense in regards to any of it. That'd be like me saying, I have a cake because I have, it'd be like me saying I have a cake because I have a fucking carton of eggs, a bowl of flour, and some butter and some milk. No, I don't have that. I just have fucking food products. And, of course, that once again leads into the other realm that, mixing the shit into a bowl together still doesn't make it a fucking cake. It makes it a mixture of... It makes it a cake mix. Big difference. But it's, yeah. So I mean, it's this sort of mindless stupidity that really just kind of makes you wonder what the hell's wrong with people. And I mean, I don't necessarily, I mean, not getting into the politics of what you believe as far as right to life is concerned. That's neither here nor there at this point. I have my own position, as I'm sure most of you guys do. But I don't care who you are, unless you're a completely ultra-conservative, fundamentalist Christian nutcase who, thinks that you talk to God on a one-way radio. No person in their right mind is going to consider life to begin 2 weeks before conception. At least I hope they don't. At least I hope none of the people, I hope none of the people I know would actually consider that. Have to wonder what the hell's wrong with them. But anyways, so it was just a little bit of a rant. I didn't necessarily mean to go on for a full 11 minutes, or a little bit more longer than that. But in any regard, though, if there's any point in time something sparks me that... Okay, so the last video kind of cut off on me. The memory was full. I guess I gotta go get myself a SD card. Nonetheless, though, I was getting ready to wrap it up anyway, so, if anybody has anything they want to say, ask, any topics, really, you want me to kind of give my opinion on, I'll be glad to do it. I tend to be quite the rambler, so, yeah, anyways, do whatever you want to do, comment, or, whatever, so, alright, so, thanks a lot, and, Guten Tag, guys.